Today is August 9th, 2007. I am Cassie Potasic, and it is a pleasure to conduct this interview for the Dakota Memories Oral History Project in Richardson, North Dakota. Can you please tell me your full name?
Magdalena, Staudinger, Hauck.
Alright. Do you have a middle name?
No, I never had a middle name.
When and where were you born?
I was born in Dickinson on March the 8th, 1924.
Alright. Have you ever heard any interesting stories about your birth?
My older sister said she could remember to this day when I was born. And my dad delivered every one of us except one. And the family were 10 of us, or 9 of us. And he delivered every one of us. And I was living in Dickinson. I know that we went to school, we had to walk 3.5 miles. But when it got cold, they always had a wagon or something to take us to school because there was quite a few families around there. Pick up. And I went to Green River School, north of Dickinson.
Was it a one-room school?
Yeah, it was a one-room school, yeah. I don't remember really how many were there, I guess. But we had teachers that were really good. They took care of us good. One of them, then we'd go with, some was old enough in the family that would drive the wagon or a sleigh. They would take the horses and put it in a shed up at school till it was, time to go home again, and then we'd go home. And one boy cursed at the teacher, so she took a live soap and washed his mouth out. And he didn't go to school for quite a long time because he has a live soap burned his mouth. But his mother and dad never said anything, so they thought he deserved it, I guess. Yeah, they were strict when we went to school. Just teachers. And we had fun though all the time when we schools and stuff like that. And our family, I don't know to this day, how we ever got along in that house, because in the winter time it got so cold and we had to shut off one room, and I know there was just one bedroom and a living room, and I think most of us just slept in the living room then, and the kitchen was very small. There was an attic up there, that's all, but there was 9 of us. Well, we weren't all home at once because my oldest sister had to work because my dad was sick in the hospital one time, to pay the hospital off. So she worked at the hospital then. And when we milked in the summertime, we had to drive an hour and a half out to the pasture. You had to drive out there, but we had to milk out there and then bring the milk back and separate it home. In the wintertime, the cows were around the place there. And one thing they told me was I had to carry most of the water. And my mother made butter, and that had to go to the hospital too to pay off some of the debt. And I'd always gripe from the time I left the house until I got down to the well to get the water. But I did it all the time, I guess. So we had big gardens all the time, and I remember my two sisters and me. We played house. We went out in the yard and just made a square, and then we squared off so that each one had a room like like that. Then we played like that all the time. So, and I had to do a lot of herding of cattle, and see, they didn't have pastures at that time around there much, and then we usually took them out to the ditches, and I had a horse, and we'd wait until, like the sheep, if we hurt the sheep, they always wanted to go home by noon, so then we chased the whole works home at noon, cattle and all. And to this day, one of my daughters lives right across from where I did this. So, and I was 12 years old then when we moved to Richardton.
Why did you move?
With trucks, let's see, with the sheep, no, the cattle, they chased down to, when we lived 15 miles, no, not 15 miles, about 8 miles north and about, 4 miles east we had to go. And somebody chased them cattle down, and the sheep they brought down by trucks. And then we had 3 trucks that we filled with furniture and stuff. And I remember getting stuck. They got stuck because it was in March of, let's see, what year was that? 36. See, we had lost our farm because we couldn't pay for it at that time. There was no crops at that time. So we lost that place up there. And then we moved down here and he had quite a bit of land, and we made it good. Really had a good life, after that. But we only had one brother older than us, so we had to help. Yeah, we milked cows all the time, and when my brother went to CCC then, and so it was just us girls there to help my dad in whatever he did. And then my dad got sick, so then we had to call our brother home again from the CC, so we help. And they just get paid, I think, $8, and then the rest went to the family to help out to the family in them days. See, and I went to school. I can't remember what they call that school now in Richardson then.
Did you like school?
I liked it, yeah. Then when I just went through the 8th grade, and then the teacher said I should take a course in sewing. So I took a course in sewing, and then I helped her out in school too. So it was our sister-in-law that was teaching. She had married our older brother. And we had to milk cows, we had to clean barns and stuff like that, and haul grain, not like they do nowadays, have a hoist on there. You fill the truck up. You had to unload it all, put it all off, throw it all off, take the truck out again, the combine and stuff like that we had to do all the time. And I remember one time my mother was sick. She was up in the hospital, and my dad took the two girls along, and I was alone at home with a baby in the crib, so I had to milk. I milked 18 cows out behind the barn, and I thought, well, they'd be home by the time to help me carry that milk into the barn, put it in cans, and they didn't really come home. When he did come home, he got hick because I said, you shouldn't have taken both the girls along. So one should have stayed there and helped me. But my dad always said, I don't have to worry. When my girls are at home, things get done. So,
What was your relationship with your father like?
oh, good, really good. My dad was just a wonderful man. He just was so kind to us. I mean, I don't think we ever got a slap from him. But all he would have to say to do something, we did it. We knew we were, that we knew that we had to do stuff like that all the time. Yeah. So.
What was his name?
John Staudinger.
Can you tell me anything else about him? What kind of person he was?
Well, he was really a religious person, and really, I liked him a lot because I was with him most of the time, whatever he did. I know one year I got poison ivy on my hands. My mother taped them up. She put always some salve or something on it, and she taped it up. Well, he brought a load of wheat in. I had to unload that load of wheat with my hands bandaged up like that. At that time, there was nobody else to do it, So we had to do it. Yeah. So.
Can you tell me about your mother?
Well, she was just in the house. That's what she did. She never milked. Maybe she did earlier, but maybe in Dickinson she always did, but not when we got to Richmond. She didn't no more. And it was the three girls. We took turns, weeks, to get the cows. We had to get the cows before we could milk. And at night they'd come home, but in the morning we had to go out and get them. And then she was always hollering at us, them cows. And well, we had to get up at 6. And then, my dad wouldn't get up till 7, till then he'd come out and help us milk and stuff. So.
What was her name?
Christine, I guess. Metz, it was her maiden name. And she did the cooking and the baking and the cleaning of the house herself all the time. Unless we got bigger, then we helped her. But otherwise, there was herding cattle again when we, along the ditches and stuff again. So I rode horse until we got a little tiny Shetland, and we had a tank of water there. He bucked me off and bucked me in the tank of water, and that was the last time I rode a horse. Never rode another one again. So then we had, later on, we had my brothers, helped a little more. There was 4 boys still afterwards. So.
How many children did your parents have?
9.
Can you tell me their names in birth order?
And their birth? Yeah. Louise, October 1917.
Okay.
October the, what is her birthday? 24th.
Okay.
Then was Frank. I gotta think of when his birthday was. Well, the 7th of June
Okay.
of, I don't remember what year he was born.
That's all right.
And there was Regina. Then she was born in 1921 on November the 20th. And then was me. Then there was Dolores. She was born February the 15th. I don't think I can remember either hers. Anyway. Margie. She was born in, let's see. Can't think of it. We can come back to it after a while, I think.
That's fine.
And, then was Elmer. And Dick. Elmer was in October the 28th. And I don't remember his year either. Then was Valentine. And then there was John. His Dwayne John is what we call him. And his birthday was July the 17th. I don't remember what year either.
Okay.
Then she had a miscarriage. He was 7 months along, and she miscarried, and they called him Jacob. So there was 10 of them.
Which one of your siblings were you closest to?
To my siblings? Well, we got along good, all of us, really. Well, there's Elmer, too, in there. That's what I forgot. He was born on the 28th of October. I don't know the year either.
All right.
So, I would say, it was the two girls after me that I really was close to. Because the other one, my older one, got married, So,
Do you know any interesting stories about the births of any of your siblings?
well, we had a sort of a coal mine there, and it would be quite a bit of water into it all the time. And, we were ice skating there, and the younger one, Margie, fell in the water, and she walked up to the house, and we called her a wet duck. She didn't like that too much. So, yeah.
What kinds of mischief did you and your siblings get into?
I think I got into quite a bit of it, but I can't remember what too much it was. Well, we usually had water on the stove to keep warm from the coal stove. And my mother had hot lard on there. And I had a little bit of water in the can, and I dumped in, and I thought I had hot water. And then it started a fire. And then my dad grabbed the whole of it and carried it out. He burned his hands a little bit from that. Then I guess I went into a closet one time to get some apples, and I took a match to light so I could see, and I started the apple box on fire. But other things I can't think of any. What other mischief I went into.
Which of your parents parents was the disciplinarian?
Well, it was mostly my mother, I guess, that disciplined us.
Can you tell me anything else about your family growing up?
Not, not really too much. I can't think too much of that, what really is. I know we had to work hard. I think I was 12 years old when I had my old wagon to load bundles and then bring it into the thrash machine.
Were there any chores that you especially hated doing?
No, it didn't seem like it. Whatever I was told, I did. Yeah.
Is there anything you have to help with inside the house?
Not too often because, there was other ones that I was usually out with my dad, helping my dad doing things. And then for making, now, like the way they make silage nowadays, well, we had to cut the corn and put it on a pile and put straw on top of it so it would, sort of be like a silage, I guess. And that's the way we would feed cattle off of that hay and corn during the winter. And I remember one cow got ill there, and it collapsed on her. She died so before we found her.
Did you keep a lot of cows?
Yeah, we had a lot of, we always milked between 18, 20 cows. And then we separated, sold butter.
Do you remember how you made butter?
We had a great big barrel that we'd be turning, and that would make butter. It was a 15, 20-gallon barrel. And they needed a lot of water, so I had to carry a lot of water for that at the time.
Do you remember anything else about the chores you had to do growing up?
Well, clean the barns, I guess.
Did you ever have to help with laundry?
No, I don't remember I ever helped at home there, because my mother did that stuff all the time. We'd hang out clothes for her. And she,
You said that she also did most of the cooking and baking
yeah,
herself?
she did that all the
What were
time.
some of your favorite things that she made?
Well, she used to make a big kettle full of pudding. We liked, and there's a lot of, we mostly bread, because that's what we ate all dough stuff all the time. That's all we had, in the earlier days was noodles and stuff that she made and stuff like that. And then we had a school teacher that was board there too, one year, and she cooked for her too. And in my family, there's just one that's Frank. Is the one that's the only one left. I mean, the only one dead. Otherwise, we're all living yet. So. And he committed suicide. His wife was in the hospital in Bismarck, and they fired him from the the oil company. So for Halloween, he went and drained a bunch of grass out because he was mad at them guys, and he went to Bismarck. So then he was supposed to go to trial, and then he shot himself. So he was 43 years old, I think, when he did that. So that was hard on the family, but I can say is, you know, all the rest. My older sister's going to be 90 years old this fall. Yeah. She raised 10 children. She's the one that had the most. I had 9 of them and she had 10. So, we have 29 grandchildren and 22 great-grandchildren already. We got big families. Yeah.
You had a big family growing up too?
Yeah.
Was it always a cheerful place, or were there lots of problems
No,
because of the big family?
no, we never had problems.
All right.
Yeah, it seemed like we grew up all right.
Well, what kinds of things did you do for fun as a family?
I don't know. We never thought it to have fun, I guess, or what. We just go to weddings, I guess, if there was weddings or something like that. That's about all we went to. We worked. He helped, usually helped milking in the morning, and in the evening, me and the kids did the chores in the evening. And then, being we had our land so, you know, spread apart, that you know, that he was gone quite a ways. So, but the kids were big enough to help. But I didn't see my kids go to school very often because the older one always had to do big breakfast for them, and I was out in the barn all the time, so, helping him milk and stuff. Had to clean everything up after his stew, the milking.
Did you often have to miss school growing up to stay home and work on the farm?
No, I never did. No, when I was young, no. We had to go to school.
And at school, were you allowed to speak German at all?
We didn't know, because my older sister went to school and she didn't know how to speak German at all. I mean, English at all. She was all German. And so my dad finally started talking English to us so that we wouldn't have the hard time she had. So
you knew English when you went to school?
yeah, knew English. And if I did talk it, my grandma told me I talked like a turkey gobbler. My German wasn't very good. I could understand all the German words, but I just never could talk it. So, yeah.
Did you enjoy school?
Yeah, I enjoyed school. Yeah.
Were you a good student?
Well, I had a hard time, I could say. But you know, made it through, I guess. We made a lot of, in Christmas time, you know, Christmas programs. And one we had to go to a neighbor's place, and then we practice over there. And we go by a wagon over there, or a sled, I think we went that time.
Do you remember anything else about Christmas programs?
In school? Yeah. I don't know. We just played at recess and stuff like that. It was the same as tag all the time we played out there. In the snow we played, what do they call that? Made a ring, and then the one would stand in the middle and the others would, then they try and catch you before you get to the ring.
Fox and Goose?
Yeah, fox and goose. It was.
games did you play at school?
Any over, throw it over a ball over the schoolhouse. And we played ball, baseball. We didn't know nothing about basketball at that time. And I can't remember much anymore.
Did you have things like Valentine's Day parties at school?
Yeah, we had Valentine's parties. We we made all the Valentines and passed them out.
Were you required to give Valentines to everybody?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember anything else about school parties?
Not really. All I remember, that one teacher we had that was the only one that we didn't like. So he was always teasing us about guys, and that time we didn't like to go to school that time when he was paid. Then when he had cold, he'd take his wet hankies and hang him around in the school. I think he should have been kicked out. Then my dad knew there was something going wrong because most of us girls wouldn't go to school because he did that all the time.
What's your favorite memory about school?
Well, having friends, I guess. I think mostly.
Was there anyone in particular you were really close to?
Oh, the Schubert girls we were real close to, like Cecilia and Rose.
Can you tell me about them?
Huh?
Can you tell me about them?
They were nice people. I mean, you'd go there, they'd come down to our place, and we'd visit, for the years.
Is there anything else you remember about school?
Not really, I don't think.
All right. Was church important to your family growing up?
What?
Was going to church important to your family?
Oh yeah, yeah. We went every Sunday we could. If the roads were bad, we didn't go, and we'd pray at home.
What denomination were you raised?
Catholic.
When you went to church, did you sit with your family?
Yeah. Well, no, at that time, the men sat on one side and the women on the other. And, till they finally gave that up. And I was glad because the woman usually got the kids, all the kids that wouldn't go with their dad, they'd come. So that was something that was different. Yeah.
What language were the sermons given in?
They used to just have Latin, but now they have all English. Yeah.
Okay. Were you baptized or confirmed?
Yeah. In Dickinson, I was baptized and confirmed.
Do you remember anything about that?
Yeah. It seems like when there was people from the country went to school, the kids in the town would always try and, they didn't like you. And then one time, there was 3 guys, they chased me, and that was all of 6 blocks I had to go. And I'd run home, and then my grandma said, "What's the matter?" I said, "Them guys are chasing me chasing me all the time." So then she told the priest, and then and they stopped then doing that.
You stayed with your grandma?
Yeah, I stayed with my grandma when I went to school. I mean, for communion and confirmation. The whole year you had to stay. You had to go to school like that.
Was this your grandma on your mom's side or your dad's?
Mom's side. Grandma was my dad's side was in town here, and so the only time I stayed there once, and she asked me to. She would talk German, you know. She asked me to go upstairs and get some seed for some Arpsa seed. Well, I didn't know what that was, but she told me where it was. So it took me for a while. Then when she come down, when I come down, she says, "What took you so long?" Well, I said, "I couldn't figure out what you said." So they talked German a lot. Grandma and Grandpa Staudinger.
Did you see them very often?
Not really. And you know that if they would go someplace, my place was at home taking care of kids. So I took care of kids whenever they went someplace. I very seldom got to go any place.
Do you remember them very well, your grandma and grandpa Staudinger?
Oh yeah, I
Can
remember.
you tell me about them?
Well, they lived in Richardson here, and my grandma's name was Louise. She was a messer. And my grandpa's was Philip Staudinger. And like I say, the only uncle I remember was, what is his name? My folks, my mother worked there at a motel in Dickinson, and my dad that was his uncle. Paul Messer, yeah, Paul, and I can't remember what her name was. They had a hotel, and they cooked and they seemed like if we did go to church, that's the place we'd go. And she'd give us dinner almost every Sunday when we come in there. She was a nice woman. And that's all I remember of my dad. You know, that's the only relatives that I remember. He never did say he had any other. My mother had a lot of.
Can you tell me about your mother's family?
They were. She was a Metz, but her, I guess my grandma Metz was a Rice, so there was a Rice family, and they had big families all the time. And I don't know my grandma Rice got blind. I don't really know what year she was, how old she was, and she went to, they hung their food down the well to keep them cold because they had no refrigerator. And she went to the well and she almost fell in, so they had to put her in a room so she couldn't get out. And when we'd come in to visit her, she'd hear my dad's voice, and she said, John, you got any tobacco for me? She chewed tobacco. Then they had just a little hole there that they put her food in there for her and stuff. That was my aunt that cooked for her, or took care of her.
Do you remember anything else about that grandma?
Well, I stayed with Grandma quite a bit, my Grandma Metz.
Do you remember anything about those times?
Yeah, I remember she was a nice lady, and it seemed like we could not figure that out. In the wintertime, she was sick. In time for planting gardens, she was out there. We didn't ever find out why, but she was in bed all winter long. Then she'd get up in the summer. I think she was depressed, and at that time, you never knew anything about that. Well, their family she had only one boy, two boys. The one that was on Met's side there, he died. One died when he was 21 years old, and in 1919, and that's when the grandpa died. And then they had just these girls on a farm, so they lost their farm. And then all the girls went to work. See, that's where my mother was working at that hotel, and the others had to find jobs too. And the girls bought their mother their house, at Grandma Metz's house. We all had turns going to her place and helping her out. And when she got in there, she had nothing really. So my dad gave her a cow to milk, and she sold milk and butter and stuff, and then to make a living, you know. And he gave her chickens too, so that, you know, make a little money. But she was still a nice woman.
And you never knew your mom's father?
Huh?
Did you know your mom's father?
My mom's father?
Yep.
Well, he was a Metz, you know. Yeah. My grandma Metz's. He was in the war, World War I. Yeah. And he had a lot of stuff up in that attic. And to this day, I wished I would have asked if I couldn't have had him, you know, from World War I, and a mask and everything up there in the attic. Then one of my aunts died of tuberculosis, and I had to go out there one summer and stay with them kids, and because their dad never did nothing. That girl said she was 8 years old when she had to bake bread. My cousin, you know, I stayed there just 1 year to help him out in the garden and stuff. And he wasn't very good to his kids. He didn't take care of them kids at all. They had to live on themselves, I guess. Now to this day, now she's going blind. Glaucoma. That girl that had baked that bread in her eyes. So she's got to go to a home this winter.
Were you close to any other aunts and uncles growing up?
Yeah, my Aunt Barbara that had this grandma that time. We went there quite a bit to see her. Even after we moved down to Richardson here, we stopped to see her.
Did you have a favorite aunt or uncle?
Well, I think it was Aunt Rose. Because she never had no children. And so she helped my mom out a lot with clothing and stuff, you know, she bought for us and give it to us and stuff like that. And she lived right beside that hotel there, my mother's sister. Remember, we really got along with all of them, you know. But like I said, once we moved down here, I never got to go no place. I was the one that stayed home to take care of the kids. When they went to funerals, I had to stay home for the kids. So.
Did you have a favorite cousin?
I don't know really. I don't have a favorite one. it would be these kids that they lost their mother. You know, we were together quite a bit.
Is there anything else you remember about your extended family?
Well, my older sister, in, what was it, 36, I think it was, or 37, she and went out to Montana to pick beets, you know, to make a little money for the family. And the neighbor boys that went with her. And then the lady thought that she shouldn't be out there picking beets, so she hired her as a maid then. And then she worked as a maid. And then from there she stayed out west. And one that's going to be 90 years old.
Was it hard when she left home?
Well, it was because, you know, well, she stayed up in Dickinson even before that because she was working at the hospital. She stayed there, but it was hard, you know, for her to go. So, yeah. But I got along good with all my sisters. So.
You mentioned several illnesses that your parents went through in the hospital. Can you tell me what happened?
When what?
When your parents were ill in the hospital?
My parents? Well, my dad just had a gallbladder attack in Dickinson. And then my mother had a gallbladder attack too in Richardson, when we were in Richardson. She was sick and my grandma was out there, and then she says to me, "You better go out and get your dad to take her to a doctor." So then I ran out the field to get her to the doctor. Then I was, we put up a swing on, we had a porch out the front. We put a swing on it. It was a couch, and then we just bolted it up there. And then one time too many of us got on, and I fell into a deal where we were watering chickens with, and I broke my arm. Then that was on a Saturday, and they didn't do that until Monday. And then the only hospital there was in Hebron.
How often did you see a doctor when you were growing up?
Not very often. I don't remember even. Well, I broke my nose. It was the cattle were going out to the fields, and I was running down. It was downhill, and a pig come and ran in between my legs, and I fell on my nose and broke my nose. So it took a couple of years, then I had my nose done because I couldn't breathe hardly. So they had an operation on that. And see, I haven't had hardly any operations. I've been good at that. So, but my mother she died of cancer when she died when she was 80 years old. My dad was 83 when he died. So we were already passing them up. Yeah.
Did your family have home remedies for things like
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Can you tell me some of those?
That was cream and little sugar and flour. That's what she made when I had that poison ivy. And then let's see, what else did she do? I don't remember what else she really used. But they always had remedies for stuff like that because you never went to no doctors. Yeah.
How about when you got a cold?
And she'd just make hot milk with honey in it and butter. You drank that. And rubbed in with Vicks. One of my sons says he can't stand that Vicks. He said I was rubbed in with it too much. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember any other home remedies?
Don't really remember that much. I think when you had headaches, they usually put vinegar water on your head. I don't really know anything else. I don't know what she did.
Did you ever go to an eye doctor
Me? Yeah. Yeah.
growing up?
Not when I was growing up. No. I did till quite a while before. But I do wear glasses. But I can see just as good without, I think. I don't know. Yeah.
How about a dentist when you were growing up?
Yeah. No, I don't remember ever going to a dentist until we went. We lived in Richardson already, and my teeth were going bad. That was after we were married, though, already. I got something on them, and I had to have them all pulled. And then in Kildare, went to the doctor, but he wasn't a very good doctor. I got this set of teeth here now. I think they're going on 30 some years. He says, he can't see how you can keep your teeth like that. I still got 2 teeth of my own. Otherwise I got dentures. So, and all the family got their teeth yet. They're doing real good. So, did he mention something about that? One of our daughter-in-laws that got killed in an airplane crash. That was in. They were divorced. He was living in town here, and she was down in Webster, South Dakota. They had 4 children, 4 boys, and she was an airplane nurse. And they took a doctor that had a heart attack to Sioux Falls, and she they didn't make it. Then there was another guy with her, and the guy that drove the plane, and she got killed. And it was really hard on those 4 boys. That younger one, then he moved back down to the kids then, and the younger one just wouldn't listen to his dad at all. And then they found out he was depressed, really depressed. He wouldn't go to school towards last or anything. And if they had a lawyer there that had helped him with these deals. They found out the airplane guy had no driver's license, no license of an airplane. So he got sued good, that company, for sending that guy down there. So those kids are well off, but they're all got jobs, so they all are, living good. But then the younger one, after he got out of high school, he went to Rapid City, South Dakota with the older boy. So to keep him, he'd always skip school or something. Now he went and took his GD or whatever it is, and he is working now, going to school for making cabinets. So his girlfriend, he keeps him in line. So there's just one left boy down in Webster. He's waiting for his girlfriend to get done in school so they can move. Gonna move to Rapid City too. Be with the bunch. One's in Wyoming. One of the boys. Our youngest son is in Wyoming too.
You've mentioned that you got to go to weddings sometimes and that sort of thing. Can you tell me what a typical wedding was like?
What it was like?
Yep.
Well, what's best for me is, when they when they have mass, when they get married. I think that's the best thing. I think, we got all these grandchildren. Only have one so far get married in the Catholic Church. The rest all are like our oldest daughter. They've tried everything and then they still not. But that's the way it goes. She has, what is it, 6 kids? Yeah. And they're all, one year where they were all in their teens. Those 6 kids. So they had a picture of that. All her kids, yeah. So,
How about when you were growing up? What were weddings like?
Tell you the truth, I never went to any. Just to my sisters,
What were their weddings like?
Yeah, they were 3 days. They went to get the mass at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they had dinner, and then they had supper, and then they had a dance. That's what we had for our wedding. And then at noon, one of his aunts had a stroke. And then at 5 o'clock that evening, my sister had a baby, which my dad delivered. They were going to go out to the farm, and they couldn't make it, so they went into my sister's place. She was along with them. So we had somebody born on our wedding.
What other kinds of celebrations went on when you were growing up?
Well, we used to do birthday parties a lot with the neighbors, It seemed like that's one thing we did do, is go to neighbors, and then they'd come over there. And on Halloween, they'd come over there too, and we'd have some for the kids. So we would, they were out in the country while you didn't want to take them in town. So then we'd have Halloweens there, played apple dunking and games like that for them. Had candy and stuff for them. Mostly homemade stuff, though.
Can you tell me about homemade candy?
Yeah, we can make. My dad's favorite candy is cornflakes candy. That was done every Christmas, and I still do it to this day. The kids say all the time they want their cornflakes candy. So it was cornflakes in there, and peanuts in there, and salted peanuts we put in there. Let's see, coconut. And then we boil the syrup. It would be a cup of sugar and a cup of syrup. I don't know what that, did I? No, we didn't have no water to it. Just syrup and sugar. And then left to get thick, oh, cream we put in there yet. Cream in there yet. Cooked it till it got a hard-boiled stage, and then poured it over and stirred it. That's what we had. And we still have Christmas this year, but we don't know how long you're going to do that no more. Because that's a big bunch. That's usually 50 of them, at least. here. So we don't do that too often anymore. They want to do it, they have to clean house for me, I guess. That's what they get to do it then. Yeah, nobody else got a big house. Yeah.
What were Christmases like when you were growing up?
Well, I just remember one that wasn't very nice, I think. Up at my grandma Metz's place, my uncle dressed up as a, I don't know what you call him, Bildsnickel is what they call it. It was a coat that he covered up so you would have seen it. That he was at Grandma's house in, and when I seen him, I ran in the closet, and he grabbed my brother, and it was a chain, and took him out, and then we were all bawling. So till he was mean to him.
What else do you remember about that Christmas?
Well, we always had it out in the farm too, every year. And we had a basement out there, and every year we had Christmas with the family and the other peoples too. Always had Christmas out there.
Did you exchange gifts?
We just, whoever, we exchanged gifts, yeah. So.
Do you remember anything that you received for Christmas when you were growing up?
I don't really remember. I know that my two sisters got a doll for Christmas, and I never did get a doll. Never had a doll. So I mentioned that to my older sister. So she had a little boy doll made and sent it to me. She said, "Here, you got a doll now." So, and, I don't. We usually just got clothes. That's what we did. To our kids, we give them clothes all the time. They didn't have all these toys kids have nowadays.
Did you have any toys growing up?
Huh?
Did you have any toys growing up?
Any what?
Toys?
No, I don't think I don't remember ever having the toys. We were thankful to get orange or peanuts and stuff like that. That's what we got all the time, orange and peanuts.
Did you have a Christmas tree?
Yeah, we usually had a Christmas tree. Yeah.
Do you remember anything else about Christmases when you were growing up?
When one of our daughters died of cancer, she had a baby on Christmas Eve. They were out there when we were out on the farm yet, and so she had it on Christmas Day. A boy. So she died at 42, I think she was, from cancer. And he has 3 kids, and that was hard on those 3 kids. And our son that lives out in Auburn, Washington, he took those kids a lot. And his dad wouldn't take them. Their dad wouldn't even take them kids. After the boy was out of high school, he left. The girls weren't even out of high school, they left. So they took care of them a lot, and we helped them out what we could when they took them kids. And the boy is still, the girl got married this summer, one got married last fall, 2 years ago, and the other one got married this summer. And he was there, but he wouldn't pay a thing for the wedding for those kids. So it's hard feelings with something like that. So, but the two girls, the younger one did real good because I think she was only about 4 years old when her mother died, so she don't remember that stuff. The other two remember it, you know. So it's hard on them. Yeah. It's a hard time to go through. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know what our deal yet.
What do you remember about other holidays when you were growing up? Like Easter or Thanksgiving or the 4th of July?
Well, we used to, you know, colored eggs every Easter. That was one thing we did. And then I always made a lamb cake. And I even made a rabbit cake one time. And then, you know, we hit the baskets when they were younger. We put them some stuff in the basket, and then we'd hide them so that they had to find them in the morning. Then they'd get up pretty early to try and find their baskets. So, yeah. So when we got married, we had water in the house already down in the first house we lived in. And I had one of these wash machines that you had to stick a hose out the door so it wouldn't give too much gas in the house or what. We hung all our clothes out, whether it was summer or winter, we hung them out. We didn't have no dryer. So we lived in that first place, let's see how many years. Was in 83, I think, when we moved up we had moved the house up there, and they redid the house and the barn. So, and what was wrong with the place down there, the water ran through the yard. Every spring, that water would run through the yard. And one time they had to go up to the highway and come around and to the barn to milk the cows. And then they come back with a tractor to bring the milk back, the cream back, or the milk back. You know, one time we went across with the tractor, went halfway up the tractor wheels to get across there. But after the water went down, that ground wasn't muddy or anything. Then that one year, Paul went around the back, over a bridge, and just as got over across the bridge, and the bridge went out. He just got across it, so to go to do chores then on the other side. Yeah. So, yeah, we had one year had 3.5 inches of rain an hour. And then that full, they had to go up around, go milking again. So we moved up on a hill. Ran out of water down there. I guess that's why we couldn't find water too good down. So we moved up. What the heck? That was in '61. And they put up a big tank at a windmill up there, and that tank filled that full. And I had a nun, a sister, my aunt, a sister. Sister Ruth is what her name is. She couldn't get over it because the first year we put strawberries up there, and that water, when it ran over, ran into the strawberry patch. We picked 5-gallon pails of strawberries. She couldn't get over that. I don't know if we had a freezer at that time. Maybe we did. To freeze them all, but till all the kids ate, well, there wasn't too many left. So, yeah.
Were you close to your Aunt Ruth when you were growing up?
Sister Ruth? Yeah, well, see, at that time, those sisters only got off every 5 years. So, they only got home every 5 years. And then, well, I remember when she came out there one time when we lived in Dickinson, and she was out praying. She was having us kids pray, and that night it rained so much that she got wet in the bed till she was laying in the rain just in there so much when we lived in Dickinson. So she said, I think I prayed a little too much, she said. Yeah. Now she was mostly in Bismarck, but she died she died on our 50th anniversary up in Garrison, North Dakota. See, after they get that old and they can't take care of themselves, then they took them up there.
I'm going to switch topics just a little bit.
Huh?
I'm going to switch topics a little bit.
Oh.
Do you remember the Dirty 30s?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me about that time?
Yeah. Well, I remember, my dad seeding and then not getting anything. And, like that's when we usually had to take our cattle and sheep and stuff out to get grass or something, because there was no much grass that time. I used to ride along a lot of times with him on a drill. With him. See, he stood on the sides, and I sat on the top then all the time. So I was out with him a lot.
Do you remember any dust storms or grasshopper plagues?
No, but what year was that? I can't remember. 38, when it was a nice night, and we left the cows out, and they all went to a fence. And I don't know how much snow we had, but it covered 8 cows died that time, milk cows. And I think some horses died too from that snowstorm. Now that was in 38, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember anything else about that snowstorm?
Well, I guess everybody around there had, cattle, and that they go to a fence and they just lay there, and sheep are the worst. The whiteness of that gets in their eyes, and then they can't see where they're going. And their wool gets so heavy that they can't move, so they just lay down. So, but then we had them sheep in the barn, I think, that night. Because they didn't do that. And another thing, my sister and brother found a slot machine out on the hill. And there was quite a few quarters in there and stuff. And they called the cop then and told him that slot machine is there. He said, they can have the money, the kids said, we just want the slot machine. So it was close to number 10 going north of Dickinson. That's where we lived. Right off of where there's a big overpass there, that out of town quite a ways. Just right in the corner there we lived there. And those kids were happy that they had money. I don't remember how much they made or how much they picked up that time. So,
How did your parents keep food on the table during the Depression?
well, they did get, well, all just from canning and from, flour. The fall of the year, they would take wheat in, and they'd bring home 100-pound sacks of flour. And really, that's what we lived on mostly, and then what we canned. But they did have a relief where we got some supplies, like the schools did too. When things were hard like that, they had supplies. And I remember of eating a canned beef, and I don't think I ever ate anything so good in my life. That tasted so good. And my folks had a can, all their meats too, to keep them. Chicken and everything like that. And we complained when we got just canned vegetables here.
Did you do your own butchering when you were
Oh
growing
yeah,
up?
oh yeah, yeah. We butchered. They butchered about 10 pigs. I don't know. Then they made sausage and they canned that, and then if they made hams, they buried down in the wheat to keep it. It was cured so that it would keep. That's the only thing they could keep. Then was sausage and the hams, and then we had ice houses too. That we'd go down to the rivers and cut ice and put it in this ice house for keeping stuff cold. And that's last all summer long in that ice house.
Did you ever use that ice to make ice cream?
Yep, a lot of times. That was our, ice cream, I guess.
How did you make it? Do you remember?
Sugar, cream, sweet cream, I guess, and I don't know, it's milk, some milk, and eggs. They beat that up and whatever, vanilla or chocolate or whatever they're making, different deals, stuff. And then we put it in the ice cream deal with salt, ice, chopped the ice up and stirred it until you couldn't stir it.
What other kinds of things did your family make for themselves? Food-related things?
Well, over egg noodles, we made. And my mother knew how to cut them really thin. She cut them. And, well, I don't know. I say them in German. Grumbere Schnitzen Nip. Potatoes and little deals. You make little donut, little steels picked off, and then you'd boil that to the. That's that guy that his wife died. Those kids just loved that stuff, and every time they come up, they want Gruber Schnitz dip. And you boil that in the water, salt water, and then you make onions with flour in there, and then you thicken the soup like that and put some more cream on it. They liked that boy. Well, they came up here. Their dad they gifted their dad quite a bit of money to buy a house and stuff, and he moved up here. He said he don't like it down there. People that aren't friendly like in Richardson here, down in Webster, South Dakota. He said so. So well, then that boy, the younger boy, is still in the house, but he's by his girlfriend most of the time, I guess. So, yeah. Yeah.
Did your family brew their own alcohol?
My dad did, but we never did. My dad did when he lived in Dickinson.
Do you remember how he made it?
Well, they would take rye, put it in the barrel, and then they'd soak it with water, I think. I'm not for sure what they soaked in there. And then they'd leave it go till it was working. And then he had a boiler on the stove that had a pipe, and that would bring the whiskey out like that. But the copper boiler, it had to be. And then that pipe the steam of it would come out and bring the whiskey out. So after a while, they wasn't supposed to be doing that, I guess. So, but somebody said they put lye in. I don't know. I don't think my dad ever did. I don't remember he ever did that.
Did you make your own soap growing up?
Soap? Yeah.
How did you make that?
Out of, when they butchered pigs, they kept the fat from it, or if they, would use their fat quite a bit, they would use that from it, and then they'd put, I can't remember what lye water in there, a little borax, I think she put in there, and they'd boil it, then they'd keep boiling it until it got thick. And then you'd put a cloth in the box, and then you pour it in there till it got thick, then you cut the blocks. We got a neighbor out there yet that still does that. She said she still does it.
Do you remember anything else about the things your family made for themselves when you were growing up?
Yeah, a lot of, it was a lot of, noodles and stuff that we ate all the time. And you could have, you called cheese buttons. And, sauerkraut buttons, they call that.
Did you make your own sauerkraut?
Yeah, they made their own sauerkraut, yeah. I never did because it never worked out. I quit.
Do you remember how they made it?
Yeah, they'd shred it, and then they'd put salt on it, and let it set, and then I think they just put it in a big crock and kept it like that. They'd put a cloth on it, and every once in a while they'd take this cloth off and put a different one on to keep it fermenting. And by the jugs full, they had that all the time. That's the way watermelons too. They pickled watermelons that way too. A whole little melons like that. They throw in with vinegar, water, and vinegar and water, and I don't know if she used salt, I guess. Just like you would pickling, I guess. They made a lot of that too. They had to do a lot of that stuff to keep it to you. That's what they ate during the winter, like sauerkraut and stuff like that.
Is there anything else you remember like that?
What?
Anything else like that you remember?
Let's see. I think there's some more noodles that they got, but I can't remember now. Oh, cream noodles. They made the dough. It was just salt and flour, warm water, and they'd let it set for about an hour. Then they'd roll it out, take sour cream and put it on there. And then they'd have a pan with a little lard in and water and salt. They'd cut them in pieces, They rolled it, yes, rolled it, not rolled it up, but laid it up. Take one end to the other. Then they sliced it and cut it in chunks, in a piece like that. Then they put it in a frying pan and fried it. I like it, but Paul can't eat it. I'm hungry for that stuff already. So I think that's about all I remember of. But boy, they did. You know, we got. Well, I guess I don't really know what from the in the older days there when the county, you know, helped them out. I just can't remember really what they got, you know, stuff like that.
During the 30s?
During their 30s, yeah.
Do you remember the CCCs?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you tell me
My
about
brother was in there too.
your oldest brother?
My oldest brother, Frank. He was in there. He was a baker. He baked bread, and when he come home, he says, "Mom, you gotta slice. You gotta take your bread, hit it down hard, get all the air out of it." Yeah, them women in the older days, like his mother, they had 13 children. She baked every other day. Then they made, you know, kuchen all the time. You know, that was their dessert all the time, you know. And then they had to send, I couldn't see that. Send out, well, they got up early, I guess. They got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, went out in the field. And then in the morning they had to have lunch. And then they'd come for dinner, and then they'd have to have lunch in the afternoon. Then they'd work late at night, so. So they did all that stuff. Yeah. I don't remember really. I remember my mother making a sour cream chocolate cake all the time. That was her. It was good.
Do you have any other favorite foods that you remember?
They made a lot of soup. Chicken soup, you know, vegetable soup. And I make zucchini soup. And a split pea soup, and all this stuff. Can't think of it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then, do you remember World War II?
Yeah, I do.
Can you tell me about that time?
I had a cousin, 2 cousins that were in there, and I wrote them letters. And then my one cousin couldn't write, so a neighbor from Dickinson wrote, and when he sees me in Dickinson, he says, "I still remember the letters you wrote to." He said, "I didn't get too many, so it was nice to read your letters," he said. I think when World War II stopped, we had just built a barn, and D-Day they called it, or what? We wrote that on the cement, you know, out there, on the barn.
Do you remember rationing during the war?
Remember what?
Rationing?
Watching
No, rationing.
wrestling?
Rationing? Like, they didn't have enough sugar or they didn't have
Oh, yeah, the sugar, yeah. Sugar. What else there was that they rationed? I can't remember. I don't remember what else they were rationed.
Was it difficult for your family during the war because you spoke German?
Yeah, no,
There was never any tensions or anything
No,
in the community?
no.
Do you remember anything else about the war?
Not really, I guess. Because I didn't, just that I wrote to a couple of guys there, so,
All right.
yeah. So,
What was your hardest childhood memory?
childhood memories?
Yep. What was the hardest thing you remember about your childhood?
I don't think I know of anything that's hard on me. It was, where we didn't, think of it as you do now of the war like he did then, But I think that time it went faster or what, I don't know. Till they come home from war. But all I remember was his aunt came down they came down for birthdays down to our place. And she says to me, I was pretty old already. Then she says, there's no good guys around here anyway. She says, you got to wait till the guys come home from the service. And it happened with me, her nephew. How that happened was, I was staying in town with the kids that were going to school in a trailer house, so they didn't have to haul them in. The whole week we stayed in there. And then I went to a grape dance with Paul's brother and my cousin. And then I come home with somebody else, he and his brother and brother-in-law, and I left my billfold in there, in the car. And then I says, well, I got to go over sleep with my other cousin, with my cousin before she goes to bed. And then about a week later, he brought it in there to that trailer house I was in. That's how we met.
Said at a grape dance?
Yeah.
Can you explain
Gladstone, they hang up grapes. As they end, they'll wait till the end, and then they want to see who could pick the most grapes off of there. They danced all the while, until the end there, and then they grabbed the grapes down.
And what was a typical date like for you and Paul? What kinds of things did you do?
We went to Baghdad a lot in Dickinson.
What was that?
Dances and then that wedding dances was always after we got married, I think. After we were married. So
How long did you date before you were married?
about 6 months.
Can you tell me about your wedding?
Well, like I said, they had 2 meals and dance and was all that happened there. That and I don't remember anything else really.
Was there lots of family there?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of family there. Yeah. And they're all, the aunts and uncles on both sides usually were there, and
remember anything in particular about the dance after the ceremony?
We just danced, I guess. Most of the time,
Did you go on a honeymoon?
Yeah. It was my dad said we could have the car if we take Sister Ruth out west with us. So Sister Ruth and my sister went with us out on the honeymoon. We went to see, the uncles and aunts out there. And then about a week before that, my sister and her husband, they went out west. They took my other sister. So that's why we had to take her, so she'd get a chance to go out west too. And as we was driving down a hill, he forgot had to squeeze your brakes to make it work. He forgot to do that. And I think Sister Ruth back there, she was praying, I think. We hit this sand pile. That's what stopped us. We backed right out and left. Went again. We went to Yakima. In Montana, we went to that, what the heck was it, that name, Red something. It was a place where snow never melted. That snow was about 6 feet tall. On that road where we went out to, there's sort of a, I can't even think what they're, Red something, but I can't. Park. It's a park they called the Red. Well, I guess they had a lot of red cedar up there or what. And the Lul had to go up way up on top, where they shoveled all the snow, and then we had to take a picture of her. Then we went to Seattle to visit Uncle. I've never was out west before. The first time. Then we went over to his sister, no, not Yakima. Our granddaughter just had a wedding there. Can't think of that. Tacoma, Washington, too, and visit some people up there. So it was our aunt and uncle, and that was just at the time when that Mount St. Helen erupted, and my cousin made a museum of that. She had a guy sitting in there with I don't know what he was doing, was it a telephone or something? She brought a lot of that sand, out of that smoke deal, and she set up a museum in there. And some pieces of cars that she picked up and put in there, and something like that. She had a nice museum there. Then we went out to my uncle's, and he had a tree that 3 of us could not put our arms around that tree. That was a big tree. That's what they lived on mostly, cutting. Maybe every 3-4 years they would cut some out of their land. That's what they lived on.
How long was your honeymoon?
I think it was only a week and a half, about, when we got back. Then his dad told us, you're lucky you come home. And it worked out so that his other brother was living in there, and another brother was living in there, and I guess he and one of his brothers got mad at her for something, and they moved out. So that's the reason why we got the farm. Or else we wouldn't have gotten the farm.
Is there anything else you remember about your wedding or your honeymoon?
Oh, I don't know. We picked cherries while we were out there. Sent some home. I don't know what. And that uncle where we went to, you could see out of the roof of their house.
Yeah.
It would rain, they get water in their house. So you got a kick out of that one. Yeah. Well, then we left Sister Ruth in Seattle, and then we went over to Tacoma. Yeah. To see his sister, and then we went to my uncle and aunt yet in Castle Rock, Washington.
Saw a lot of family.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Well, the first time of being out there, even a train ride I never had until we were married, and we went out to Washington, Seattle one time with. I was just a hired man all the time to stay home. Like with their funerals, my grandma Staudinger died on my birthday. I didn't get to go to that either.
Do you remember what funerals were like when you were growing up, or did you never get to go?
I never did get to go in there. I never, whenever there was week funerals, I was stay home with the kids. Yeah. But I think they were much different than now, really. There's masses and then the burial and stuff. So.
All right. Well, overall, your entire childhood, what was the most stressful thing that happened to you? What's your most stressful memory?
I suppose it's the death of our daughter, maybe. And I don't remember really that. Well, our son threw some gas on a barrel, burned some stuff, and he burned his whole chest. So he was in the hospital for a week, I think. And that same fall, I was, we killed some chickens to feather them, and I put the pressure kettle on the stove, and that went off. There had a hole in there that went out, the whole lid fell off, up in the air. I got it all on me. So I was in the hospital for a week. And my son said, that hurt so bad. The first time they did that to me, put some salve on there. I said, you're not going to put that on me until you give me a shot, because I could not take that pain. It was so hard to take that pain. Then every day, they took you and put you in a tub and picked all the skin off of it. So still got some, whatchamacallits from my arms. It was my arms and chest that got it all. So that was stressful, I guess. And one year we had hail, and that we just started coming. That's the only time we had hail.
As a child, what was your happiest memory?
I don't know, what really? Just to go someplace, I guess. I suppose.
Do you remember anything in particular?
Well, I suppose it was, well, I didn't go to very many places, I guess, so I was just happy to go someplace, I guess.
All right.
Then there's another thing that happened to me. My dad always left us hanging on the back of the car. So my sister's boyfriend came, and I was hanging on the back of the car. He drove over me all the way. And I got just a big hole in my head. And it was close to Easter. My mother was making me an Easter dress. She says, I can't even try your dress on. But he felt sorry. But after that, I didn't hang on no more cars. I guess I was ornery.
Did your mother make most of your clothes growing
Yeah,
up?
yeah, she made most of her clothes. And that was out of flour sacks. You know, at that time they had the flour sacks, and they had nice prints to them. You know, that was a good deal. I don't know why they quit it. They just get dish towels out of it. Yeah, they bought 100 pounds a year, 1,000 pounds a year. I remember carrying it upstairs.
Were there any clothes that were bought from the store?
I don't remember having any clothes. Just what my aunt would buy us for our birthdays or something like that.
Right. How about shoes?
Shoes? Well, I guess we wore what we, from one from the other, I guess. When one of them wears out, then you'd get it, I guess. Or go barefooted. Went barefoot a lot, I guess.
Right. Is there anything else you remember about clothes and that sort of thing?
Not really. I don't remember. I didn't.
Did you always get new Easter dresses?
Well, they always sewed Easter dresses. That's the one thing my mother always sewed our Easter dresses. And I could sew for kids, but I never could sew for myself. I just couldn't do it. So I had a sister-in-law that helped me all the time when I have a dress sewed. So she'd sew it for me. So, yeah.
Did anyone in your family embroider or crochet when you were growing up?
Yeah. Me? I made on every one of the grandchildren a quilt. I got one that I maybe could show you after we're done here.
Okay.
I have some in one of these books too. I made 2 weaver fevers. There were something to make them things. Used to 1.5 strips, and you put about 6 of them in a piece, sew them together. That looks cute though. That was good, pretty. But I was so dumb. Give them quilts away and never had anybody take a picture of them.
Oh, yeah.
I took a picture of one, but I can't remember which book it's in. So, so
When you were growing up, what was the most adventurous thing that you did?
adventurous. I don't remember what that would be.
Okay.
Didn't have too much adventures, I suppose. So,
Well then, is there anything else you would like to share with us about your childhood?
about my what?
Your childhood.
Your childhood? I had a good childhood, I guess. The only thing was the carrying of the water. But somebody had to carry it, I guess. When she washed that butter out, she needed a lot of water.
Anything else?
So,
All right, then why do you think it's important to tell your life story?
so other people could read it, I suppose.
Are there any other thoughts or observations you'd like to share with us?
I don't think so. Can't think of it anymore.
All right.
These are my family, my mother and my dad. And this is my sister Margie. This is Elmer. And this one's Louise. And this was Dolores. This is Frank, Regina, and me, and Val, and John.
All right.
These are Paul's family. That's his mother. His dad was dead already at that time. This is George, Ben, Anton, Betty, and that's Paul. Who's that? Emma, and Bill, and Kate, Norbert, Hilda, Leo, and there, I can't think of his name.
All right.
Maybe I can think of it after a while. I don't know why I don't think of him. And this is my family, my grandma and grandpa's, and my aunts, and my mother. This is my mother, Sister Ruth, Aunt Barbara, Aunt Mary, and Louis Metz. This is Henry Metz, Grandma Metz. Her name is Elizabeth. This is Aunt Rose. This is Aunt Lizzie
Okay.
and Uncle John.
All right.
Whoops. Get all out here. I have to think. I wonder if he's even. Yeah, he's in the back there.
And what is this?
That other one was Leonard. The one now I think of it, 'cause that's him here now.
This is Paul's family?
Yeah, Paul's family. That's Leonard. And this is Norbert.
Okay.
And this is George. And Ben. And then there's the mother, Matilda.
Okay.
And Alec. And this is Hilda.
All right.
And I think that one is Leo here.
Okay.
And this is Ben.
All right.
I don't know. I think this one's Paul back here. That's Leo, I think. Did I say Leo, Ray? And this is Emma.
Okay. Who's that?
That one I can't really think. His name is Ben, I think. Maybe I said Ben. These are the four younger ones.
Okay.
So it would have to be. This is. I thought these are boys. I don't think there's girls. They would have got the.
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
Yeah. That was Paul when he was over in I think the Philippines that time.
Okay.
He was in World War II.
All right.
Okay. That's my mother and dad, John and Christine Staudinger.
Is that their wedding picture?
Mm-hmm. And this one's our wedding picture, Magdalena and Paul Hauck.
And what day were you married?
June the 11th, 1946.
All right.
And this was our wedding picture. This one's Ben and Jack. And this is Dolores. And it's me, Magdalena, and Paul. And this is Delilah, the flower girl. This is Margie. And this is this one here, a Schaff, Chris Schaff. And this one here is Dan Sent. And this one is John Staudinger.
Your little brother?
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's retired from teaching in Chicago. They go all over, all over. They've seen everything already, I think, them too.
Really?
That must be that's the same one as that big one, I think, huh? Or you wanted that one.
Oh, it's a different one.
Yeah, they're just opposite, I guess.
Okay.
Well, we'll just say that's our wedding picture and our sponsors.
Okay.
This was our honeymoon picture. We went up to, you think I can think of that thing? Red Lodge, Montana. It is. And that's how much snow there was on there in June, about the 15th. That was cool. Sister Ruth is up on the top, and then my sisters. This here's my dad, my mother, me, Paul, and his mother and dad. That's Paul and me, and Aunt Mary, Sister Ruth. That's Lucille, their daughter, and this is my sister Margie.
Okay. And this was on your honeymoon?
That's on our honeymoon, yeah.
Where are you at? All right, can you tell me about this picture?
This is Paul's family, and this is his dad, Alec, and Matilda Hauck. And these are his grandparents, Philip, Adam, and Cecilia. And the rest are all his aunts and uncles.
All right.
This is Paul and his teacher. I can't even think of her name though. It's from Taylor, but I can't think of her name.
All right.
I don't think I put it in the back. She said I was one of his very first kids that she taught. And this is my family. That's Rick, Dwight, Gladys, Glenn, Marilyn, David, and Carolyn, and Brian. This is me and Paul.
And what was this for?
That was on our 50th anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah. This is he got his head is round, for our 50th wedding anniversary too.
Okay.
I think it is. Yeah. That's is our daughter Carolyn and our husband Daryl. Our daughter-in-law Linda.
Okay.
And Rick. You don't see him very much. And this is Marilyn and her husband David. And this one's Ben and Gladys. This is Dwight and Susie. And this is Glenn. Who the heck's that? I can't even see who that is. Oh, Lori. David and Lori, yeah. And then Brian and Carmen. And then this is me and Paul.
All right. And that's it.
Okay.
All right.